Hey, today we're gonna practice a really important skill. We're gonna practice coloring. Guys, look how big my crayon is. Isn't that so cool? So coloring is a really important skill because it helps us with other skills. So the reason why we're practicing coloring today is because it's fun, but also because it helps us with a lot of things. It helps us with our handwriting. When we're writing things, it helps us. Because when we're practicing coloring, we are practicing staying in the lines. So when you're coloring and you stay in the lines, that helps you have good control of your hand so that when you're writing letters with pencils, it's easier to write letters because you've practiced controlling the crayon. So that's one reason we practice. Also, there's some things that we do that we need to do our best work in, like our journals. Our journals, we want to do our best work because our journals, we're going to save them forever. And I bet your parents are going to save them when you're old. And when you look back at your journal when you're old, you'll be like, oh, wow, I was so good at coloring because you did your best work. If you did scribbles in your journal, then you would probably be like, man, I probably did not do my best work. And doing our best work is really important in kindergarten, to always do our best work. So that's why we're practicing coloring today, is to help our handwriting get better and to help us know that we need to do our best work. Okay, I have some kind of tips about coloring, okay? They're not really rules, but they're kind of just tips to help us be good at coloring, because we want to be good at things, huh? Okay, so our first tip is, I can color in the lines. So you can see I have a smiley face here, a straight face, and a frowny face. A smiley face is what would be your best work. So this, do you see how they colored in the lines? Oh my goodness, they never even went out of the lines. That would be the best type of coloring. This one, they mostly stayed in the lines, but they kind of went out of the lines. Maybe they could have done a little bit better. And this one, do you think that they did their best work? No, I don't think so. I think they were hurrying and just scribbling and trying to get it done quickly. So this one has a frowny face because they could do a lot better. This is the way that we want our coloring to be. We want it to look like this one and color inside the lines. Can you repeat after me? So you're gonna say, I can color in the lines. Good job. Okay, we have another tip. This one is important too. So when we're coloring, we want to add a lot of detail. Do you see how this elephant is gray and the ears are pink and the bird is blue? They even colored the little beak. That is some really good detail. And they used more than one color. This one's the best one. This one's kind of like good, but it could be better. So they had some detail. Look, they colored in the bird, so that's good. So they added some color, but they could have added some more color, huh? They could have added more detail. This one, they colored the elephant and the bird black, and they didn't add a lot of detail, huh? There's probably more colors in there than just black, huh? I mean, sometimes we might see a dark colored elephant and a dark colored bird, but probably there's a lot more detail like this one. So this is what we want our coloring to look like. We want to use detail and make it look really nice. Okay, can you guys repeat after me? Okay, you're gonna say, I can color using more than one color. Good job. Okay, next tip. We have 2 more tips. Okay, this one says, I can color and not leave white spaces. Okay, so do you see how this pig, when they colored it, do you see any white spaces in there? Not really. They used the crayon and they covered in the whole space. So they were really careful to make sure they colored all of it. Now look at this one. Do you see all those white spaces? Oh no, they could have colored more blue and they could have colored more pink. So when you're coloring, you want to make sure you fill in the whole space, because I don't know about you, but if I saw a pig reading a book, they'd be all the way colored in, huh? If I saw a pig reading a book, they wouldn't really look like that and have white spaces. It would be all colored in. So when we're coloring, we want it to be like this smiley face. Okay, this would be your best work, is if you did this. It takes a little bit more time, but it looks a lot better. Okay, repeat after me. I can color and not leave white spaces. Awesome, good job. Okay, this last tip, this one's kind of tricky. So it says, I can use colors that make sense. So like this one, I've seen flowers that are purple with green stems. I've never really seen a black flower with an orange stem. That doesn't really make sense. This one's kind of tricky because there's times that we want to be creative, huh? Maybe this person wanted to be creative and in their world, they wanted to have an orange stem and black leaves. And if they were being creative, that's okay, because being creative is important too. That's actually part of the reason we color, is so we can be creative and decide what color we want things to be, huh? So this tip is maybe not as important as the other ones, but there might be a reason someday that you might need to have your pictures make sense. Like this one makes a little bit more sense than this one because I've seen a flower that looks like this. And like if I was coloring in here and I came across this cat, if I colored the cat hot pink, I've never seen a hot pink cat. It doesn't really make sense. But if you did it because you're being creative, that's okay too. So this tip is maybe one that we only use sometimes, okay? Let's go ahead and repeat after me, just so we can do that on this one too. Okay, so say, I can use colors that make sense. Good job. Okay, so we just went over 4 tips of good coloring. We talked about how we need to color in the lines. We talked about how we need to use more than one color. We talked about how we need to leave no white spaces when we're coloring, and how sometimes we might want to make sure that we're coloring pictures that make sense. Okay, awesome. So when are we going to use this coloring tips? So I talked about our journal. Our journal is a time that we want to do our best work, and in our journal, we will always follow these tips. We will take our time and make sure our pictures look beautiful. There might be some other times that we want to make sure we do our best work. Like we're gonna do a Halloween craft eventually. And you're gonna wanna do your best work and make sure that you follow our coloring tips, okay? There are some times we might not use our coloring tips. In our math book, we won't use our coloring tips because if we spend a long time on our pictures, then we aren't really learning about math as much, and we're kind of just learning more about coloring, which is also important. But usually math pictures, you want them to be fast. So like one time we had to draw a picture of a car, and you could even just draw a circle instead of a car, and that's okay. Maybe if you have like extra time sometime, you can go ahead and draw extra detail in your math problems. But I'm just worried that if you spend a lot of time with detail and coloring in your math books, then you probably won't want to finish it because you will have spent so much time adding detail. So you kind of just want to decide how much time you really want to spend. But I will never look at your math books and be like, oh man, they didn't color inside the lines. I'll just think, oh, good job, they drew a circle, okay? So there are times that we want to do our best work in coloring, and other times that it maybe doesn't matter quite so much, okay? All right, I'm excited for you guys to do your project today. So today, you guys are going to color a picture. So a lot of us have coloring books. If you don't have a coloring book, your parents could maybe get online and print out a picture for you. You could have them print a picture of anything. Like if you wanted to color a panda and you didn't have a coloring book of a panda, they could help you find a picture on the internet of a panda. Okay, so if you guys have a printer at least. So some of us might not have a coloring book and we might not have a printer. If that happens, maybe you can have a grown-up or someone in your family draw a picture, or maybe you can draw a picture and then color it, okay? So what we're gonna do with our pictures today, it's actually kind of special. We are going to color our pictures, and we're going to give them to someone. Because you know how we're working on kindness? We have our kindness chart. We are going to give our pictures to someone because that's a really kind thing to do. And we could put some stars on our kindness chart. That would be awesome, huh? You guys get to show me your pictures in Flipgrid today. And I hope you guys have coloring. Have fun coloring. I'm gonna have fun coloring. Okay, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.